So I'm starting it like right now. We're live. All right, so we're going to be doing a religious talk today. We're going to go over the Civilization 6 religion beliefs and stuff. I got Comrade Kane, or I guess it's just Kane now here with me.
No, it's Comrade Kane.
Well,
Kane is just shorter. But you can call me Comrade anytime.
yeah, there we go. Perfect. And because we're super professional here, I'm just looking. Yeah, there we go. We are working. All right. So, do you want to just jump right into talking the religion beliefs here? I got a game loaded up here.
Yeah, you got the game loaded, and
All
it's
right.
Gandhi, right? And
Yeah.
why is it Gandhi?
Yeah,
Why
it's
is
this
it like
amazing Gandhi save where somebody hard built Stonehenge to get a religion. Like that's
on turn 35?
yeah,
The
turn
first
35. Look
religion in the world. Listen,
look at that thing. That
I
is
mean,
the best way to get a religion.
how much error score are you getting right now? You're
Well,
building the
let's look
wonder,
right there.
+3. You're
So
getting the first religion in the world,
yeah, so
that's
great person,
+5.
that's one. The yep, old world wonder is four. Let's go found that religion.
Yeah, found a religion, that's another, I think it's 5
Yeah, yeah.
error.
Hold up, let me see. Oh, it until you actually found it, it doesn't give it to you. Let's go ahead and like what is the religion name for this? I guess it doesn't really matter.
It doesn't. We didn't think through that. One of my favorite was anchovies on pizza. That was like, I don't know how it happened, but my kids were complaining that about pineapples on pizza, and I was like, you know what? You guys don't know anything because anchovies on pizza is even worse. But then there are so many fans of it
Yeah.
when they posted it on Reddit. It was funny.
So unfortunately,
Bad rankings.
yeah. So unfortunately, the religion. What is your thinking on ranking? What was your thinking on your rankings? Was too long by one letter. So let's just jump right in. So we're looking at the what do we got? Is this the founder belief? Our follower belief? I don't. I honestly don't know which one they're all
Yeah,
labeled
this
as.
is a follower. The
The
follower
follower belief is
belief,
this one.
yeah, comes
Um,
in first. That's the first belief you have to pick.
Actually, here, the easy way is let me just go ahead. I'm gonna pop the other window up. Boom. Here. Kane has this amazing website here, comradekane.com, where he has all these great visuals. Like they're actually pretty high quality. I've always been impressed by the quality of his are his production values. Let's say. I don't know. Is that the correct way to say that?
Sure, sure,
Yeah.
sure. Thanks for the promo.
Yeah, yeah, no problem. No, I like I've used this on me to make memes and stuff, so it's only fair.
There you go.
Yeah, I've
Perfect.
stolen your graphics a lot because you saved me a lot of work. But anyways,
All
so
right.
for your
Well,
follower belief,
yeah, but
what?
so what's the idea behind this graphic? Is the order you would pick beliefs in the way I saw it like half a year ago, right?
Yeah,
So the green ones are the beliefs I would pick first or
yeah,
consider picking first, depending on the game conditions, and going all the way to the red, that meaning that I would probably never pick those,
yeah, yeah, yeah. And
just because of the opportunity cost, right?
and to be sure, I would say uh
Can you
overall,
zoom in into it, Soger, at all to
can I
like
zoom
maybe,
in? Yeah, I
yeah,
can. Give me 1 second here.
into the image so that it's
Yeah.
more prominent, I guess.
Yeah, you want to just tell me when we're looking good. I'm just going to change the shape of the screen there. I think that's about,
There you go. Yeah, that's much better.
yeah. How are we doing there? Do you like that?
Perfecto.
All right, awesome. Yeah, and I said I
Yeah,
was going
that's why we work well together, because Soger just does whatever I tell him to do.
to, I've
When
said
it
it.
comes to technology, I mean,
Yeah,
that's what I meant.
I've said multiple times, I am not a computer person. I don't understand half the time what I'm doing. In game though, yeah, no, I'm never going to listen to
Well,
anyone.
listen, I probably don't understand quarter of what I'm doing, so
Yeah.
we're in the same boat.
Uh,
Anyway,
So, anyways, let's get back to the game screen here because I want to talk about these, and then I want to like look at your awful rankings. I will say there's one standout, and I just have to get this all the way right away.
Okay.
Divine inspiration +4 faith to all world wonders. Why is that so low? Why is that below religious community? Like, why is that second to
Uh,
the bottom? Like, explain your
because
thinking there.
I mean, when would you pick divine? I want to go through each one by one.
Well, we're
Let's
gonna
go
go through
one
all
by
of them, but
one.
here's the thing. I looked at that and I was like, "What are you thinking?" Like, I get that generally divine inspiration is not viewed as good, but come on, man. You're talking about opportunity cost. You're talking about when are you
Divine
getting it?
inspiration is any of the Browns. So I will pick it after I would consider Jesuit and work ethic and whatever is about. Whether it comes to religious community, which religious community is stupid. I don't I would never
That's
pick it.
probably the worst.
That that's
That
probably
is
the well,
below
see,
warrior monks, in my opinion.
that's where we should discuss it one
Yeah,
by one
because
because
because like
now I have
trust me,
some thoughts.
you've got some really bad rankings in here. I just want to get that out of the
Perfect.
way.
Perfect.
Like
Let's
I'm
do it.
not sure what you were thinking. I thought I at first I thought this was a joke, but
Oh, Toki is here. Hey, dude. Welcome.
hey, what's up, Toki? How's it going? All right, but anyways, so if we're looking at your follower belief, you just want to go, you want to go in order of which, hey, this is the best, or you just want to start top left and go left to right, top to bottom,
Yeah, let's go with the follower beliefs first because that's
because
the
that's what we're
first
looking
belief you
at.
have to pick.
Yeah.
And that's the first one that comes up once you found the religion.
Well, yeah, yeah. But I'm saying, do you want like we're gonna go through all of them. All
Yeah,
right.
yeah, yeah. Let's go on the graphic, top to bottom,
Okay.
just like they are in on the screen.
On the screen right now. All right. So we're gonna go choral music first, right?
Exactly.
Which one, unless you get first or second religion, choral music is never going to be there. I'd say like 75% of games, it's the first choice by the AI, which is right. It is nine times
Because
out of
it's
10.
so
Yeah,
strong, right?
9 times out of 10, it's the best. I've even argued that in when you're playing a Russia game, even with Dance of the Aurora, if you're able to utilize your faith to make up for the production loss of a work ethic religion, I would argue choral music is still the strongest choice, even in a situation like that, where every city is going to be like 20 production, because production is creatable, culture is only available from so many sources. Um, like it's just like
And early,
yeah,
right?
and
How early? With the shrine, you can build a shrine in the temple super early. In the first 100 turns, you can have multiple holy sites with multiple shrines and temples.
yeah, exactly. And like I said, and that's considering that you're trying to win the game and nothing else. If like all you're trying to do is get to the victory screen, choral music is always is like it's going to have to be such a unique circumstance. We're getting a three or a 2 to 4 extra faith per building isn't going to be huge because your sources for added culture are so limited in the building
Oh,
or in the
Moprobs is
beginning.
here too.
Oh, hey, what's up, more probs?
Welcome to the channel. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
what's
go
up, more
into
probs?
the Russian accent from time to time.
Well, it only fits, like uh
Yeah, but because culture is so important, right? Like
well, yeah,
some players would be like, "Why are you saying choral music is so valuable?" And the way you play the game, the way we play the game, is that we build a lot of holy sites because
yeah,
faith is such a good currency early on, right? And
yeah.
because you build a lot of holy sites, obviously you're going to have shrines and temples, but they provide culture. Culture, again, guys, in any game is super, super valuable yield.
Well, culture wins games. The thing with
Culture
culture,
wins games. There you go.
yeah, culture wins games because everything unlocked by culture is instant. Like if you unlock early empire, you get open borders for free the second it's unlocked. You don't have to invest anything. You can sell it right away. It keeps units out of your territory. When you unlock theocracy, you get the government right away. There's no investment. You get the new government. You get all the bonuses it provides. When you unlock new cards, you get them right away. Unlike science, where you don't get anything from science other than the very first few, the animal husbandry, mining, and irrigation, and then sailing and cartography. Everything else, there is an investment to receive what has been unlocked. So, just on a one to one basis, culture is better. But culture also amplifies every other aspect of the game because every single card, every single government is in the culture tree. Like, it just, so it doesn't matter
And
what.
you have envoys there, right?
Yep.
And you have governor titles, and
Yep.
there just so much is tied to culture
Yeah.
that much more than any other currency. So choral music, number one. I think it's without any debate between us, at least, right?
Yeah. No, I mean,
It's
like
impossible to get,
well, like,
but
well,
still
I
there.
wouldn't say, I would say like about 75% of the time, it's going to be choral music is the strongest. I'd say, or maybe that's might even high. I'd say about 80% of the time. I would say if you're going a culture game or because well, let's just go into the next one. But I would say choral music, if it's available, picking it is the right call. I would say there are arguments for two and three being slightly stronger than choral music. So let's see. What?
It's situational like any game, right? Like, but I
Yeah,
feel like it's a pretty solid default choice.
yeah,
So the next one I have is feed the world.
yeah, and
Um,
that is one or two for the AI as well.
exactly. And it's just the same logic. Shrines and temples, right? Housing, early food. Your cities are growing. You're going to be able to build districts faster, etc. People are always concerned about amenities, but if you play your game right, you can manage that early on with luxuries and trades.
All right. Well, I would argue that I don't like Feed the World as much. I just don't. It doesn't do anything for me. You only need seven population. Why am I worried about that much housing and food? Yeah, like my cities will be better with that much. Like, and this is right away.
Any city though, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's it helps when the map sucks, right? For
Yeah,
example, because we always talk about, oh, you're starting location this, you're starting location that. Feed the World can fix many starting
yeah, it can
locations.
fix Russian starting locations. But with Russia, you're better off with work ethic than Feed the World.
Sure.
Here's
Right.
my problem with ranking Feed the World so high is Feed the World uh, fixes bad starting locations in that. It's a good accessory, like it amplifies stuff. How does it help you? Like, how does it directly help you win? Like, yeah, I get that
Mhm.
like, okay,
Yeah,
if
no,
you're,
I see your point. I see your point. You don't have to. I mean, it's the only contribution here is city growth,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
City growth turns into population, but again, you're going to be limited by amenities. But I guess if you look at the opportunity cost and work ethic, for example,
yes,
and you do have see if there was a situation, for example, where feed the world is available, work ethic is available, but my adjacency is very poor. Let's say
yes,
like a bunch of holy sites, they were like +1,
yep.
right? And +2. I would go with feed the world. I don't care about that production.
No, and that's a fair argument. What I would say, and this is what I'm going to say, is, uh, and I'm going to make this argument in a couple different areas. Shrines and temples come are well, actually, let's just say shremples. Let's just say temples, not shremples. Temples,
Shrimples.
yeah, come
That's a
too
good one.
late for the food and housing to matter for me. If I am
Mm,
investing in a shrine and a temple in
all
the
right.
city, it should.
Here he goes. Here
Yeah.
he goes talking about himself,
Well,
how
no,
fast
I'm
he
just
wins.
saying if you're unless you're playing a religion game, you need two
Mhm.
temples for for divine inspiration for the Eureka, correct? So if you're not playing a religion game, unless it's providing me something unique, which culture is unique, like there's only so many sources for it. But I can get food and housing other ways. Why am I investing 480 gold to get three food, two housing?
But you're investing it in you're investing in faith production no matter what, right?
Yes.
So you're building shrines and temples no matter what.
How how
So
how
that's where
how many wonders are you going to build in the game?
I don't know, 7.
How many of them are going to be built before you build a lot of shrines and temples?
I don't know. These questions are
And this is
irrelevant to
why
this
divine
discussion.
inspiration is better than feed the world. All right? Like let's
Are you
just
serious?
yes,
Dude, how
a
many
few months
wonders can
ago,
you possibly build?
a
You're
few
going
months ago, I would have been completely against divine inspiration, but I've actually been
Ugh.
using it in a few games where I don't have work ethic.
Listen to yourself. I have been using it in a few games
Okay, but
lately.
see, here's the thing.
Like,
Here's the thing. It has to be better than the other options. I'm not saying it's number two. I'm saying it's better than feed the world.
that's interesting.
Um,
That's interesting. I mean, because faith, right? You're trying to earn more faith. It's just it's +4 faith.
yeah,
You only have 4. Like, if you
correct.
build a wonder every what? I don't know, 20 turns or something.
Yeah, but
Like,
it's
is
plus
that?
four right away. If you build three wonders in your capital because you did an autocracy rush, that's 12 faith per turn.
But instead of building,
Early, very
I mean, a
early.
shrine will give you +2 faith.
You can
So
still
you're
build that
building
shrine
wonders.
though.
Well, with that logic, you can still build a wonder while you're building
That
shrines
that won't give
too.
you plus four faith.
Yeah, but the shrines won't give you anything else, right? Just 2 faith.
Correct.
No, I mean it's interesting.
But anyways, so you're saying feed the world's number two. I would say that work ethic is number two. Just because
Okay,
it's the
fair.
default, it's the workhorse.
Yeah.
It's the if you
The
don't know
work ethic, the only reason it's on 4th position, it doesn't mean that I would pick it last from that batch. It just means it's in that group,
okay.
depending on the
So you
selection,
didn't
right?
rank these one, two, three, four.
No,
Everything in
no.
the green is number one.
It's super confusing. Exactly.
Okay,
So,
okay.
like for example, if I'm playing a culture game, I'm planning to build Mount Saint Michel, or I'm playing Congo. I'm gonna take Lady Congo. I'll take reliquaries,
Yeah, exactly.
and go with that. So it really depends.
Yeah,
So if I
because and that's what I was gonna say is work ethic is number two because it's just
yeah,
the workhorse. You're
strong.
never wrong picking work ethic. It might not always be great, but it's giving you added production early and it's instant. And you are what am I trying to say? You're getting
It's
the
not instant, right? Like
well,
you have to
you still have to
have
have the holy sites, yes.
yeah, exactly. You have to have your cities converted to your religion too.
But it's one of those things. Work ethic is good for like the first 30, 40 turns. Then it's mostly irrelevant. Like
I
by
mean, it's a given for adjacency pantheons, right? And
exactly.
it's like a given for Russia and Khmer and well, Khmer maybe,
Yeah.
but like Theodora, I guess, Japan even with their adjacency bonuses and whatnot. But adjacency pantheon, if you pick that, then work ethic is a must,
Yeah. Well,
and
unless
it's always available, right? Like AI doesn't really
yeah,
go for it.
and that's the other thing. Work ethic is good. It gives you production early when production is valuable. It's the same idea as choral music. Uh, Jesuit education is going to pay out more than work ethic and choral music ever will if you're looking at what you can actually create with it. But you're getting your bonuses so late with Jesuit education that it
Yeah.
doesn't matter. Early
I was
game,
gonna say the same thing. I mean, you're gonna need 880 faith to buy a research lab if you wanted to.
yeah,
That's pretty expensive.
but the reality is the early game is what matters. So even if you only build like two or three shrines, choral music has already outperformed everything. Now, length of
Yeah,
game, could you have done better with another choice? Oh, probably. But getting
yeah.
like three or four, or getting 4 to 6 extra culture on turn 40 is huge. Same idea with work ethic. If you have like two decent holy sites, it's paid for itself. You've gotten your districts a little bit earlier. You've gotten a couple, just being able to create a couple things earlier gets you that snowball a little bit faster. Um, Now there is, and that's my problem with Feed the World, is that you're only getting food, which is getting growth, which yeah is better, but if you don't have a district to buy, if you don't have anything to like if you're just getting population early, it doesn't necessarily always mean it's a bonus. If you don't have the workable tiles, if you don't
Mhm.
like
Okay.
if
Fair
it's
enough. Fair
yeah,
enough. I got your point. I think we should. So we got through coral, feed the world,
yeah,
and work ethic,
yep,
right? Reliquaries is very special and
yeah.
unique.
Reliquaries is the best belief if you're going for a culture game and relics exist. It is like it is so
Right.
far like
And
it
relics
beats
exist.
yeah,
You have to be like
yeah. And I would argue relics is probably the best belief. And this is where I would say choral music is the right choice, like 80% of the time. I would give work ethic, I don't know, about 10%, and relics 10%. If you're playing and you see 1 to 2 natural relics, just the AI or you got them in the goodie hut, or, just are candies in game, or you're playing with hero modes, relics is the right choice. Doesn't matter what victory you're going for. You get 1 relic, that's plus 12 faith. Like
Yeah.
if you get
But
that
the way
turn,
you get relics, right? Like you just mentioned, you get like a relic from a goodie hut if you're
yep,
lucky, right? Early,
yep,
or you can buy it from the AI. You can't get a relic early on in any other way except like you said, if candy is in the game,
correct.
right? And for candy, you have to like choose it first and then be
Exactly.
very careful and lucky in exploring
Yeah. And
to get the natural wonder.
and
So
and you have to
reliquaries
devote your
is
game for
very
that. Yeah.
right. So reliquaries is a very, very like it's complex actually for like a average player. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
To pull off a successful victory because the only thing that helps you later on is Mount Saint Michel, and then you
Yeah.
just suicide your apostles.
Yeah. But I will say relics has like the earliest highest top end. Like if you get like if you
I
get
guess
a
by the
candy for it.
time I guess by the time you get to it, right,
Yeah.
you'll have a good idea whether it makes sense or not.
Exactly. And that's
To
the
pull.
thing. If you're
Yeah.
getting your religion turned 40-ish and you haven't found any world wonders and candies in game and you have a pretty good walk on Caesarity, oh my God. Like get reliquaries and like
Who gets a religion on turn 40? What what is that? I'm talking about turn 60,
well,
70,
the same
maybe.
idea, same idea,
All right. Yeah,
And
yeah.
this is another one you can
Just busting your balls.
yeah, you can pre-game relics as well. My Cleopatra game, I found candy, and I literally, I would like look at every single edge when I moved, looking for the text for the because some of the wonder names are larger than the wonder, so you could see like the end of the name of the wonder in the corner, and it's like, well, not going that way anymore. And I just had scouts like resting to find wonders in the next turn because I had a candy Caesarity coming up. I mean,
Yeah.
like you like getting 12 faith is like at
Well, but the biggest benefit from reliquaries is what? Early tourism? Are we banking? Because Tokyo is
in a
meant to be
culture
in
game, yeah.
tourists. So it's early religious tourism, right?
Yeah. Oh, it's like if you're playing a culture game and relics is even an option, like if there's one relic, reliquaries is the correct choice. Yeah. The amount of tourism it provides, relics plus Basil Cathedral is insane. If you rush that, you can get tourism before national parks. Like it's just an unmatched. You have to
Yeah,
spread your religion a little
religious
bit.
tourism for me is a little bit of a darker area
Yeah.
because I've never really banked on it,
Yeah.
and played it. So that's something that I defer to you to.
Well, and the thing is you get the bonus. It's not as strong, but you do get a tourism bonus for relics and all that stuff. Even if like the bonus, like you still get tourism from it, even if you don't push your religion a ton. It's not much, but it's sort of the compounding effect of you get a ton of extra tourism, uh, and you get a bunch of
And
extra tourism
so
and a bunch of
extra
extra faith.
tourism, by extra tourism, extra faith is always good.
Yep,
Extra tourism so early, right? In
yep,
the first, I don't know, 80 turns, let's say.
correct.
You're earning those foreign tourists, right?
Yep,
Earlier, meaning that you can potentially achieve cultural victory earlier
yeah.
if you keep snowballing because
Well,
you
and
don't just
yeah, and because cultural victories, the finish line is determined by the cultural output of your rivals. The faster you're earning tourists, even if you get like one or two before turn 100, like you're shortening that finish line by so much.
yeah.
Like it's just a fact.
Okay. I mean, you touched up. I mean, let's move on. Let's move on to Jesuit education. I have
Hold
it
up.
right
Toki
there.
said, doesn't early tourism do virtually nothing? Uh, yes and no. If I would say if you're not going to close the game out before turn 170, early tourism doesn't matter. It is so irrelevant. And that's the problem with religious tourism as a whole. Unless you're winning the game super early, it's too weak to matter. So I feel like, and this is where I feel like sometimes Civilization 6 is two different games because religious tourism just falls apart after like turn 100, 120, and then it's basically really weak. So it's great for me. But for like your average player, it's not doing anything. So yeah, early tourism in a much longer game is it's irrelevant.
Yeah, I mean, you got to build Cristo, right, to
Yep.
make sure it keeps going. All right. Uh, Jesuit education.
Jesuit education. I
Too
would
late.
yeah,
It's too late.
I would I would almost and this is where my problem was. I would put divine inspiration above Jesuit education.
Wow, you're really loving divine inspiration. Why don't you scroll down to so
Oh,
divine
sorry. Yeah.
inspiration?
Let me
All
go.
world wonders get plus
Yeah.
faith.
Let's see.
I mean, you have to be able to build the freaking wonders,
Yes.
to make it worthwhile. Because
But
so
see
many
here, like,
times you get outbuilt by AI, for example. Okay, you personally, Silver, you can build wonders, but
correct.
I feel like a lot of players. I mean, how many times you're building the wonder? Boom, outbuilt by AI. Then you start another one. Boom, outbuilt by AI. So
Exactly. Yeah,
you
yeah.
pick divine inspiration, you're screwed if you're in that type of game. You know what I
Correct.
mean? It's
But
it's
like
such it's a
I'm like
very high risk selection
but like
choice.
if I'm ranking something, I'm ranking for how does this help me win the game? All right?
That's great, but if you don't build wonders, it's not going to help you.
Yeah, yeah. So for people who aren't playing to win the game and under 150, under 200, divine inspiration is going to rank lower. For me, divine inspiration is going to do much better because, like you said, oh, you can build wonders. Yeah, I can build
Hmm.
wonders, and
Hmm.
I build a lot of them. And I settle cities specifically to build wonders. And by the end of the game, I have 15, 20 wonders. And this is sort of like a weaker relics for me because those wonders are giving me four faith early. How soon are you finishing your Apadana and your first autocracy rush? Pretty early. And if you haven't gotten like huge holy sites, sometimes you're getting like 10 to 20 faith per turn, and that's on a high end. So
Hmm.
getting plus four faith is getting you up to that 100 faith per turn where you can start cranking out settlers, builders every single turn threshold so much earlier. So this is one of those ones. For me, it ranks higher. I can see where everyone else
Hmm.
would dislike it, but it comes down to a stylistic choice. I'm going to be building so many wonders through the course of the game and early. I build so many wonders that it just pays off and it pays for
And
itself.
I guess there are leaders, right? Like China's kin,
Yep.
who would be like, this would work really well. To be able to build wonders faster. So it makes sense. It makes
Oh,
sense, but
Toki
it also
said,
takes skill and finesse, I
yeah.
guess, to actually
So
make it
so
work.
Toki said in chat here, so for a stinker like me, I guess I think I should take something else, right? Um, this comes down to if you are able to get those
And
early
let's say
wonders.
Toki, you're playing like on Emperor or Immortal type and deity. So, I wouldn't call yourself a stinker because you are on higher level
Yeah.
difficulties.
Uh, but and then he said, "Well, couldn't you just put a +4 holy site?" Well, yeah, you can put a +4 holy site, but much like I was saying with choral music, just because there are other ways to get culture doesn't negate the fact that more culture is good. Faith is such a strong currency. It's like faith is so incredibly strong, and the earlier you get it, um, because like Oracle, if you can get Oracle, reduces the holy are the faith cost for great people, so that makes faith stronger. You're paying, I forget, what is it, like 20% less uh the value of gold. I forget the exact exchange rate for gold to faith when purchasing on monumentality, but like faith is so much stronger, and it's not associated to any fixed cost like gold is associated to all your fixed cost, your building maintenance, your unit maintenance, all that. So if you have a lot of faith, it just has so many uses and it's going to amplify your game. And like I said, and for me, because I know I'm doing that early wonder rush, that +4 faith is going to stack early when I need it.
Hmm. Hmm. No, makes sense. Makes sense. I mean,
But
I've
no,
never seen you pick divine inspiration, but fine. Point
I've been
taken.
doing it a lot. I've been doing it a lot in games where there's no relic and work ethic isn't viable. Uh,
Gotcha.
and
Gotcha. Okay.
less advantageous starts that just have chops but don't have any adjacency, it actually does very well. Um,
All right.
but it's following
Let's move
that's
on.
yeah. Oh,
Let's
okay,
move
yeah.
on.
But Jesuit
Otherwise, we're
education,
gonna spend like 20 minutes on one
yeah,
belief.
yeah, yeah. That's fine. That's fine. Like, people know I talk too much.
Yeah.
I think anyone who is watching this knows Mike talks way too much.
Yeah. Yeah, the Jesuit education, you know what? I took it in my last science game actually because work ethic was I just had very, very poor adjacency for holy sites, and I was like, and nothing else was available.
Yeah,
So I picked that in place of divine inspiration because I also haven't built many wonders,
yeah,
right? It actually worked pretty well. I mean, you pay around 200 for a library, around 500 for university, right?
yeah,
Because at some point you switch, you build a bunch of campuses, and if you are producing pretty good faith, you can get your universities up very, very quickly. Because I was short on gold, so it kind of worked out, you
yeah. No,
know. So it's situational. It's
yeah.
situational,
Jesuits
but it
good. It
works.
just comes late. I
It
just
comes later,
yeah,
right? Especially for you, right?
yeah. Well, and
Again.
yeah, and like don't get me wrong. Like I actually do like Jesuit. The problem with Jesuit is the AI takes it very early. So it's not available, and making the call that
Okay.
that's going to be the route that early for me is hard. If that makes
Okay.
sense. Because there's a lot of games where at the end, I like if I like replay the game, yeah, Jesuit education would have been better, but there's just no way I would have known that when I was picking my religion.
Okay.
Because,
It
but
makes sense. It
yeah,
makes
yeah.
sense. So the next group, I would put religious community in the red. I
Oh
would
yeah,
move up
it's
warrior
religious
monks into the
community.
brown.
I
So
would,
wait. So the brown is poop section,
yeah,
basically. It's the section that is always available. And I guess we can move divine inspiration out of it, obviously. We're talking about Zen meditation
yep,
and in warrior monks. Zen meditation, right? So
yeah.
let's talk about it. It's plus one amenity with
With
two
two specialty
districts.
districts. Like that's such a weak reward for what you're getting. Like,
And I saw Ursa playing Scotland, you know,
yeah,
and taking Zen, and it's fine, but you have other options, right? Before
yeah.
picking Zen, you have all that stuff on top of it. So
If it
why
was
would you
one
even go
amenity
with it?
for every two districts, okay. But it's literally like Zen
It's
meditation
one. That's it.
should just literally be one amenity. It should just be because then at least you're getting it right away. The fact that it then has the modifier of you need two specialty districts takes a weak reward and then makes you wait for it.
Wait, specialty districts are like any district, right? Like I guess it doesn't matter. It
Specialty
doesn't matter. It's
districts
still two
are your
districts.
campus, your
Yeah.
are your population cap districts. So aqueduct stuff
Yeah.
like that doesn't count. But that's what I'm
Gotcha.
saying. Like if Zen
Right.
meditation was you get an amenity for every two districts you build,
Yeah.
then it would be. I still wouldn't even think it was that strong at that point. But the fact that you have to wait for your second specialty district, which means you have to get to four population in every city that's following it to even get this, and then finish that district, is you're waiting so long.
For one amenity, there are
Yes.
so many other ways. Just buy it from the freaking AI. Buy the luxury resources, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Okay, moving on.
Yeah.
So, religious community, I have it up there, so
I
might
would
as well
say it's
talk
the
about it.
weakest. I would
It's
say,
it's ridiculous to
yeah.
me. I mean, when would you even run international trade routes early to make them viable for this type of belief? You
Yeah.
know,
Well,
and what civ are you going to trade with to like figger out if there are holy sites? Like, what? This to me doesn't make any sense, to be
yeah.
honest.
So and this is you're hoping for a lot of religious city states. Um, if you were Portugal and there
Oh
was a
yeah, city
lot,
states count too, right?
yeah.
Okay.
If you're Portugal and there's a lot of religious city states on the coast, you could make an argument for this, but that's such a small likelihood. But like the problem is even religious civs don't build a holy site in every city. If you look at the end game map, like at the end of your games, look at how the AI builds districts. They're just not going to build enough holy sites for this to pay off.
Uh-huh. 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 That's a good point. Awesome. I
Yeah,
love that.
like your
You have to
options are
know
going to
how
be.
AI operates, right?
Yeah,
And
like it's just not going to pay off. And two, this is one, it starts off weak, which means it's never going to get any stronger. It's two gold.
right,
Like
right.
it's two gold.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
so weak. Even
Well,
like
maybe more gold if they have a shrine,
yeah,
which is
but it's two
rare
gold on international trade route. International trade routes are already the significantly weaker option in most cases. So you're
early
already
on.
taking a
Yeah.
slightly weaker trade route, and the bonus you're getting is not strong, and it never gets there. Like, what's
Yeah.
the
So
cap?
this is the worst one.
Yeah,
Like, don't
by
pick
far.
it. It's useless.
Yeah,
Completely useless. Now, the last one is in this group is warrior monks.
yeah.
Now, so here's my take on warrior
Warrior
monks.
monks is
I
fun. Warrior monks is
it's
fun.
it's a
Done.
fun play.
Yep.
It's a fun play, but like the window that you can have that fun with, I feel like it's very short.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like they can be pretty, and you have to promote them to
Yeah.
get take advantage of them,
You can
right?
do like Zulu and make warrior monks great. But even like, and this is like in deity, I've tried to do this. Um, even I struggle getting them out and active on a deity game and keeping them worthwhile. Like, and that's
Right.
like games where I've gamed the system. I've done like unnatural things to expedite
Uh-huh.
my growth and stuff.
Uh-huh.
Just to see if you could make warrior monks work. You can, but you have to just be like they're just so they're fun on lower difficulties. Yeah, I say do it, but you're getting a culture bomb.
Yeah, exactly. But again, it's an opportunity cost,
Yeah,
right? Like you're going with warrior monks, you're foregoing every other belief on
yeah,
this list. Like, why would you pick them before like work ethic? Or maybe you get if on lower difficulties, you probably have choral music available,
yeah.
right? Anyway,
And
all right.
that's
So
why like
so
the
this
top,
group,
yeah.
yeah,
And that's why the
go ahead.
top four, I think, are just the ones that you're not like, even if you pick wrong, at least you got the yields early. And that's why, like I said, that's why I do put divine inspiration for me. And if you
Hmm.
know that,
Hmm.
like, if you know you can get the wonders,
Yeah, yeah.
because it's getting you a yield early that you can make choices with to improve your game.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, divine inspiration also works when you build Stonehenge first.
Yeah, it does. Like it really
Boom,
does.
right there.
I actually I played a Ludwig, no holy sites, no industrial zones, sub 200 science game. And divine inspiration was my belief, and it actually worked out amazing. Like I had so much
I
faith.
mean, it sounds amazing. Is it on YouTube?
No, I'll replay it one of these
Ah,
days.
boo. You should replay it.
I'll
That
replay it.
sounds fun actually. What you said, no holy sites and no industrial zones?
Yep, no holy sites, no industrial zones. I
Wow.
still
Okay.
founded a religion with Stonehenge, uh,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
but a religion is only so good without holy sites.
Right.
Oh,
Right, exactly.
Toki said, "At best, warrior monks protect your home from barbs." I agree 100%. Like warrior monks for me, I get four of them from the wonder that provides four of them, and I use them for my cores. That's what they're for.
Kotoku, I think, right? Or
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
not.
Like every
Yeah,
time I build that
exactly.
wonder, I'm like, okay, I only need to get one more core, and I
Exactly.
rest them all in a clump. All right, so what are we going into next? Enhancement beliefs.
Yeah, enhancer is next.
Yeah,
And I think during the game, though, you get a choice. If you switch to the game
yeah.
window, do you once you pick a follower,
I'm gonna go ahead and pick
believe?
choral music. You can
Yeah.
choose anything. You can pick your
Oh,
enhanced
you can pick
belief.
any. The next one is any of the three types,
Yeah, yeah. Hold up. Let me just
right?
close the window. Sorry, I
Is
forgot I
it
was
enhance
controlling that for a
enhance a
second.
founder of worship?
Yeah,
But I think enhancer is just the next important group because you can only pick two,
I
right?
would
At the
say
beginning.
you can only pick a follower and then one other belief. Worship beliefs, your buildings are the worst option. It should be your third choice almost every time, and that's just because where you like you have to build a shrine and
But
temple before
would
you can get the building. So I would
right,
say
right. But would you go with enhancer group or some other belief? Like, what would be your second pick?
I would say 75% of the time I'm picking enhancer belief,
Yeah,
unless I'm
yeah.
not founding any cities. I like if I did an insane ancient era where I have like five cities, I could see going founder belief. But in your average game where you're going to be expanding, enhancer is going to be where it's at. And I would say for the average player, enhancer is going to be the best second
Okay.
choice.
So let's move to the enhancer
All right.
group then,
All right.
because one of the top ones that I have
Yeah,
and
and I'm going to go
always
ahead and switch back to
consider.
your thing.
Yeah,
I just like your graph better. I'm sorry.
yeah. Switch it
Yeah,
back because I just
and
want to
again,
make
and this
sure
is not
that
at all a plug. I just like the way it's laid out a lot better. Like,
yeah. So what I have on top is holy order because I always try to generate as much faith as
yeah,
possible. Holy order is just, and I use apostles a lot, whether to spread the religion to begin with.
yep,
I mean, it's situational, right? It's situational. If you spawn next to like strong religious civs, maybe you'll think twice about like, okay, do I need holy order? Can I really spread it, or am I playing a defensive religious game,
yeah.
right? If you're playing a defensive religious game, you probably go with something else. The holy order, 30% cheaper plus theocracy discounts, right, and
Yeah.
whatnot, it just makes it so good.
And especially if you're
And
like playing Molly, your religious units are basically free then.
right. And spreading religion pays off
Yep.
if further down the road you pick
A
the
population
founder.
based religious
Exactly.
belief.
The
Yeah.
followers, right? You get culture for followers, you get science for followers, or even,
Which, like,
um,
let's just get it out of the way. You're picking culture or science for followers on your founder belief, and everything we say after this is going to be based basically off that assumption. Because in the founder belief, there's some other options, and I actually looking at them, there is a lot more variety than I expected. But it's still world church, our cross cultural dialogue are
mhm,
so
mhm,
strong. But
absolutely.
so when we're talking about enhance and stuff, like we're gonna be working off the assumption that you're getting culture or science for your followers.
Yeah. And holy order is like, for example, religious colonization, which is third one down the line there,
Yeah.
is really handy, right? Because you get your cities, you get AI cities actually
Yep. And religious
started
colonization is
possibly.
the only enhancement belief that the AI gets if you spread it to them. If you spread your religion to an AI early before they start settling, every city they settle after that will be following your belief. So that is a unique unique feature of religious colonization is it works for
There
other
has to be a
civilizations.
majority, right?
Yeah,
I was gonna make a point that even religious colonization wouldn't be as valuable if you pick holy order and you are able to produce a lot of faith. Then you can just use your missionaries or apostles to spread the
correct.
religion just as, you know what I mean? So it's like a toss up. It depends
This
on the situation.
For me, it completely comes down to how much extra faith am I going to have?
Yeah,
Holy
yeah,
Order definitely
yeah,
has the highest
yeah,
top end. If we're talking just a general game, your top two choices are Holy Order and religious colonization by a long shot.
yeah, yeah.
The Holy Order has the highest top end, but you have to use your faith to spread your religion.
Correct.
If you have a lower faith output, religious colonization is going to just outperform because it's instant. The second you settle a
Yeah.
city, it's following you. Da, 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 da. If you have weaker holy sites, if you don't have like the faith output, um, religious colonization wins out. Or let's say you're doing uh like you're doing a culture game where you got Oracle and you like a Brazil game where all your faith is spoken for because
Yeah,
you're getting
exactly.
reduced great
Exactly.
people
This
costs.
is a yeah, this is an excellent point. Like holy order is going to require you to spend faith where it can be spent elsewhere in the cases Soger mentioned. I mean, the next belief I have is the crusade. And
Yes.
so the reason I stuck it in there because for crusade you still need to spread religion.
Yeah, Crusade, like
So
Crusade is
hold on, hold
number
on.
3.
I was under the influence of playing Basil's game, I think, before
Yeah.
I created. And Basil is literally the only leader who could actually use it to its full potential. Because
Yeah.
otherwise, you're going to have a hard time spreading the religion and to make the crusade work. And your units, your religious units, are not cheaper because you can't pick holy order because
Correct.
it's self mutually exclusive,
It's
right?
such a contradictory belief because
Hmm.
if you're going heavy faith, you're not going to have science usually because you can only choose like you can only build so many districts early game. So if you're going heavy faith early, you're not going to have the science to go or early war. Now, granted, if you're playing a longer game, the Crusade plus 10 will pay off. You know, if you're at the same tech level, but like it's one of those things like it just doesn't make sense to me. Like you said, if you're playing Basil or Theodora, it makes perfect sense because your religion is spread through combat. It works. If you have Vatican City where you can spread your religion through great people and not spread it through actual faith investment, okay,
Hmm.
it's slightly more valuable. But when you have to have high faith output and also have the technological ability to go to war, um, like that's so, and I guess the plus 10 does make up if you're behind in tech,
Yeah,
but then you're
yeah.
just making up a weakness. You would have been better off going science.
I mean, I feel like it was literally made for Basil.
Yeah. I
I'm
and
just gonna,
this is actually my only problem with this enhancement belief. Your ranking for this is I
yeah,
believe Crusade and like Missionary Zeal should be the only two yellow ones. Um,
uh-huh.
and then everything else should just be awful because like
All right, so scroll down. Let's talk about the next ones, like missionary zeal.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, I don't even understand. You know, honestly, I think that's a complete crap belief. I mean, what your units are scouts now? I mean, I don't
You're
even understand.
this is
Here's the
good
thing: even if you spread religion, Soger, you need to buy those units. Why would you go with missionary zeal if there is
over
holy
Holy
order?
Order. Yeah, yeah. And that's
It
why
just
I say it's the only one that should be in the yellow with Crusade because if you're playing like a Mali or a Russia where you do have the faith that Holy Order isn't
uh-huh.
necessary, you can
Uh-huh.
win your religious victory so much earlier.
Okay.
Um
Okay.
like if you're going like a heavy faith uh if you're going a very heavy faith civ, you can ignore Holy Order and be fine, and just being able to get across the map faster is better. But I 100% agree. And that's why I say, like, I don't think Crusade or Missionary Zeal deserve to be in the green. Like, 9 times out of 10, pick Holy Order and just travel slower.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Okay.
And
Okay.
then defender of the faith. Why are you being attacked? Like don't get attacked. Why are you picking a religion? Like why are you
It's like,
being attacked so
yeah.
much that you're picking a religious belief?
So basically, you are within your own territory,
Yeah,
right? Because what? It wouldn't be. I don't understand what the friendly cities are if you've been attacked, meaning that if you convert your enemy, you're not getting that bonus from those cities, right?
correct. City states. If you're Caesarian of a city state, or
Yeah, sure.
if
I
your
mean, but
friends are
this is
alliances with
so,
somebody,
yeah, this is so weird to me too.
like this,
I
I
just,
feel this works good in multiplayer. I haven't played much multiplayer, but I could see going
okay.
Defender of the Faith if like you were behind somebody on your team, and then it would pay off.
Yeah.
Like I could see this working well in like a multiplayer, but in single player, why are you being attacked? Like that's actually my question. Why
But
like
see, this these enhancers, right? Like, right, it's a good question. I absolutely agree. But even to use this belief, you need your religion to spread.
yep,
And you can spread it because other beliefs in this group help that.
yep.
So it's like it's in the wrong group, this
Yeah,
defender.
what you're
Same as
losing to
crusade.
pick that, and that's the problem with every single one of these other beliefs. What you are losing to take Defender of the Faith, Missionary Zeal, are any of these options that aren't Holy Order, religious colonization. You're taking a pretty big hit. And like I said, I can make the argument for Missionary Zeal and Crusade, which is why I'd say they deserve to be yellow. I can't make the argument for anything else on this list.
Should we even talk about it?
Um,
Monastic isolation.
uh,
Your religious pressure never drops due to losses of theological
yeah,
combat.
we're
I'm
talking
like,
single player
what?
here. How often are you in religious combat, and how often are you losing? If you're losing
Listen,
religious combat in your territory, that like what are you doing? Move
yeah,
on to your cities.
heal your units,
Yeah,
hide them in your, like, what, how do you do that? I mean, you can accidentally lose a battle, maybe.
yeah,
There are policy cards, right, that enhance the strength of your units. There are government, that theocracy enhances it.
and you can
So
move them into a city center at any time, and then
city
they're
center,
yeah,
exactly,
and then they can't
exactly.
be attacked.
They can be
Uh,
attacked. They can heal, right? Like, heal them.
yeah.
You don't need to. Anyway,
Holy
holy
waters
water.
just
Yeah.
increases your healing. Once again, how often are you healing religious
What is
units?
that? Like,
Yep.
I mean, these were made for some ridiculous religious wars, and I never see single, game players actually do that. You always see AI fighting each other.
Yeah.
Like, you see these religious wars when you don't really play religious game. But from our perspective,
Yeah.
useless. And then scripture and iterant preachers, it's the same type of thing to me, because
It
it's
takes
like
too long.
passive, but it's a passive spread that you have no. How's it calculated? How does it work? What is it? You know
And
what I
here's
mean?
the thing. Here's the thing. You're converting population at the same speed that the other people are growing population. So you
Hmm.
have to have more religious pressure to overcome their population growth.
Huh.
So if you like on lower difficulties, this does better. On higher difficulties, yeah, like the AI gets a bonus. So their cities are going to grow faster than your religious pressure is going to convert their citizens. Like it
Yeah.
just it doesn't like these would work in my style of games where I'm just going to ignore my cities if they don't follow my religion. But once again, I'm better off picking Holy Order or religious colonization. Like there's no sense in these abilities. They're just
Right.
so
Unless everything on the top is taken.
yes.
Because let's say if you're playing a huge game, right? Like, huge map, it's
Yep.
what, 7 religions
Yeah.
that are available. So we have what, 1, 2, 3, 6. We have 9 beliefs, right? So
Correct.
you're gonna have 3 beliefs to pick from if everything else is taken,
Yeah.
right? So imagine the top 6 are taken.
Yeah.
Then it doesn't really matter what's left at the bottom,
Yeah,
right? Because
if
it's not
my
going to
options
make
are
an
Holy Order,
impact.
Scripture, and preachers, I honestly don't care. Like I just won't pick one then.
Yeah.
I will treat
That's
that
a,
the
that's a
exact
good point.
yeah,
You can go and pick a belief from a different group,
yeah.
like a
I will
founder
treat it
belief.
exactly like I treat the World Congress in my games. I'll just move the mouse and click, and whatever I click, that's what I
I
got, I
know.
guess.
Well, World Congress, actually, it's funny because sometimes sometimes they produce some fun stuff
Oh
like
yeah, like
theological combat strength or culture bombs, or trade routes
yeah,
and
yeah,
stuff
yeah.
like that. It's fun. But let's go to Founder first.
Yeah, let's go to
I
founder because I can't stress this enough. The worship belief should always be the last call. None of the
I
buildings pay
yeah,
off enough to pick them early.
absolutely agreed. And the only reason I pick it, I rarely even build them.
Yeah,
The only reason I pick it is to fully upgrade my religion
to
and
get
get
the
era
era
score.
score. And
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, I usually never build the building. If they gave me era score for actually building the building as well, I would probably build the building more often. But the only
Yeah.
time I ever select
Yeah.
one, but when we get to one, there is actually
Yeah.
a few
Yeah.
situations where you
Yeah.
can do
Absolutely.
fun
There's
things with
always a
them.
situation.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So Founder,
Yes.
I highlighted World Church
Yep.
on its own because
It's the best.
single-handedly it's the best one from the group, right? Again, we're going back to culture.
If I play 100 games, I'm picking that in 90 of them minimum. I mean,
Yeah,
there's a good chance that it's all 100.
absolutely. And then when it's not available, I go with cross-cultural dialogue.
Yep. Now,
And
where
then, yeah.
Now, where this falls apart is you
Yeah.
go pilgrimage and tithe, and I get why you did that, but
Well, yeah,
sacred places is
I agree.
better.
I
Um,
agree. I mean, you're going back to wonders. I
yep,
get it. And this is actually this might be strong. Well, it's kind of funky, right? Like, are you betting on your own cities? The
yeah. I'm betting
largely, right?
100% on my own saints, but
Yeah. Okay.
lame ministry, sacred places, and stewardship all work directly uh, for your victory type. If you're going science game, you're going to build campuses. Now it's only one science and it's not going to pay off a lot, but it's
Right.
going to do more than two faith is. Faith is strong, and I know it seems like sometimes I go over my own things, but faith is strong, but when you have to,
But this is when you play. See, I have a religious victory badge there.
yeah,
Because when you play and you spread your religion, fast
yeah,
and quickly, it can snowball pretty quick.
I would
And
still
yeah.
Yeah, I would still take lay ministry and world church even in a religion game
Okay.
because getting to
Yeah.
theocracy is so much more important
Yeah.
than plus two extra faith.
Okay.
And that's where pilgrimage and tithe. I get it, and I get why like these rank really high for the average person.
Hmm.
But if you're looking at
Average player, excuse me.
yeah, average player. But if you're looking how you actually win the game, like if you're looking at game winning yields, getting culture or science is always better. It
Yeah.
just always is. Um,
Okay. What about papal primacy? I mean,
Absolutely
everybody
worthless.
screams Georgia on top of their lungs when it comes to that.
Absolutely
There,
worthless.
like,
Oh
what
my
is
god.
that?
It's like it converts a city state to religion, which does nothing.
Who cares, right?
Because you're
Like,
not
who?
getting culture or science for your followers, so why do you care if they're following your religion? Like once again, you're like papal primacy, it seems like it's in the wrong category because it would work great if you could take papal primacy and then also world church and cross-cultural dialogue.
Hmm. Hmm.
But
Hmm.
spreading your
Yeah.
religion without one of these modifiers doesn't do anything. And it would work if it was like a religious burst, like if it had AoE splash where it affected the cities around it. But to my knowledge, it only affects the city state.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Same thing with the religious unity. Well, it's a little bit better, I guess. Not a little bit. I think it's much better than papal primacy
Yeah.
for sure, right?
Yeah, it's an
But
envoy. Like if the good options were chosen, let's say I'm getting absolute last religion, uh, I would take religious unity just because envoys are so important. Yeah, I would put religious unity below the culture and science ones just because it's an
lay
envoy.
and yes, church. Yeah. Yeah. So it's going to be at the bottom with papal
Yeah, it's
primacy.
still going to be in the bottom half, but I would say that's the best one that doesn't provide a game-winning yield.
Okay. So would you throw pilgrimage and teeth into like a brown category?
I just don't like them. I like,
Tithing.
yeah, tithe. I think it is. Because it's
Tip.
for each city. It's for each city. It's not for every four followers.
Right, right.
So
Big
it's
difference.
very
Yeah.
weak by comparison. You have
Yeah.
to spread your religion so much to get so little. If it
Yeah, I
was,
mean, lay ministry is definitely it's definitely better than pilgrimage. Actually, now that I'm looking at it, in the
yeah,
sense of the
because you're
yeah,
getting one culture and one
yep,
faith. So you're basically trading one faith for one
yeah,
culture. And
yep, yep,
like
yep.
this is the cat like and it's so funny because I'm arguing about options that in a single player game you're never going to take. But I was looking at it and I was just like, why would you put these above this? This is just out
Right,
like this is the category that I honestly got mad at you. I was like, what were you thinking? I'm never
it's like
choosing any of these, but you rank them wrong.
it's like that meme. Why are you so stupid?
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
All right, all right. So the last group, then, the worship stuff.
Yeah. I
I
would say
mean, I threw them in there just,
I would say you're about right. You really are. Like
mosque. Actually, I would put mosque. Nah, I
no,
don't know.
they're
Mosque and
about
stupa
right.
for me are pretty close.
They're about right because the building you're never going to take it. The one thing I would say is cathedral is good if you're playing an Eleanor game, non-violent domination. Cathedral's good because it gives you that extra art slot for the loyalty pressure. Um, so
Ah,
that's really good. But the
but it's a later in the game building too, right?
Yeah,
Like, so it's like
but
you're
it's
already,
just that one extra slot in a
yeah.
city because you're picking up cities from the AI and they
Hmm.
might have holy sites that you could then put it in there.
Uh-huh.
It's just sort of that game theory of like, okay, I'm gonna need to move great art around. Oh, I have a slot in the city I just got. Like, is it huge? No, but if I'm playing Eleanor, I'm much more likely to grab Cathedral earlier than I would in a different game. But otherwise, I think the most important thing when you're looking at this worship building is it's mosque is the only one you're picking to actually win the game. If you're playing a religious game, this makes a lot of sense. Because yeah, it's gonna
Yeah.
honestly make you win.
I mean, by the time you build those buildings, you should be doing pretty
Yeah.
well with amenities, maybe. I don't know. I don't know. It
No,
depends.
I
But
think
I find mosque as the most valuable here because
yeah.
it's like you can always spread the religion. But I guess it depends because that
Mosque is
extra
the best
spread
because
prevents,
it's like a different version of Holy Order, because
right,
it's
and it
making your
prevents
units
you from
better.
spending more faith, right? Because
Exactly.
you get that extra spread.
But now the other two options, pagoda and is it stupa? I gotta be honest, I don't know how to pronounce that. Is it stupa or how is it pronounced?
Stupa, sure.
Stupa.
I
All
don't
right.
care.
So those two, you're picking these only because late game they actually do something. Nothing else here does anything late game. Like it's so minimal that
Well, are you saying Meeting House is completely useless
it's
with two
two production.
production?
That's a mine. Like you're telling
Right?
me that you're
You
going
have
to
to exactly. You have to talk in those type of like. That's a great comparison. It's a freaking mine,
yeah,
and we're spending
you're
literally like
like and the AI picks their worship building early. Okay, so Gardoir, uh, three faith,
Gadwara.
two
Yeah,
food, one housing. How is it pronounced?
that, yeah, that's a fun one. I
It's
have no
good.
idea.
Trust me. If I'm Russia, and I'm in pure tundra, like this one. The food and housing. If I'm Russia and I have a pure tundra start, I might take this early because that will sort of help. But once again, that's only because Russia doesn't need anything else. Russia's amazing. So yeah, if I am like one of the best civs in the game, I can pick this worship building to make that best civ function better. Like,
Hmm.
but that is not
Hmm.
an argument to say this building's good.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
works out if you are an amazing civ. Um, but you're getting two food, one housing. Okay, that's a farm.
That's a
Okay,
farm.
so
Yeah,
you're so
that's
that's a farm. What? Two science. All right. But it's two science when you already have a shrine, a temple, and you've now built this building. Does two science matter at that point? That's less than the library,
Yeah, and
because you're
how
not
yeah, how
getting
much
great scientist points.
by the time you get to Watts, you probably already have universities available. So
Exactly. So it's
it's
two science when two science is like maybe 1% of your science. Uh,
right, right,
like
exactly.
so a meeting house, like I said, it's a mine. Synagogue, five faith.
Worship buildings should have been based on city
Worship building should have been
populations.
free.
Or city population,
Yeah,
right? Like the larger your population, the more science Watt would produce
yeah.
because you have more worshipers or something
Yeah,
like that.
I've said it before. Every single worship building, with the exception of stupa and pagoda, is a loss of yields because you're spending so much production to get so little if you build it, and you're spending so much faith to get so little if you buy it. So
Yeah.
every single one of them is a lost investment. Like,
Yeah, it's ROI, it's opportunity cost. You spending your faith on
yeah,
this instead of saving it for a great person, for example, right?
yep.
Or whatever else.
Mosque is the one outlier because it provides you a unique ability of giving you more religious spreads, which actively helps you win the game. So if you're trying to win the game, unique abilities help. Pagoda, selling diplomatic favor, gets you a lot of money. You'll come out ahead. Stupa, amenity, it depends on how much that amenity's getting you. You can lose with it or you can win with it. What is an amenity worth to you? Every other one of them, you are losing.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Cathedral Point with Eleanor was pretty good.
Yeah,
But yeah, the
but
rest of
I
it. And then
like
Dar Mer.
it's awful. Oh my God, it's so
What is
terrible.
that? I mean, scroll down a little bit because
No,
it's a
sorry,
little
sorry,
bit
sorry.
cut off, I think.
Yeah.
But it's like, what is, you know what I mean? Like, what is that?
Well,
I mean, unless
it's a weak
I,
version of the synagogue because you have to get so many eras since it was constructed. So,
what is
like,
wait, what does that mean though? So you construct it in like let's say medieval,
yep,
right? So then you only get plus one faith for each one of these buildings
correct.
and the next there. So you have like five of them, you get plus five. This is just I mean, it
But it's
depends.
also
If
for
you
each era since constructed are last repaired. So I've never picked this, but my question is, can you double it? Or is that saying if you don't have it repaired, you don't get
or
the plus one faith?
it says or
Oh,
either or,
oh,
right?
so yeah, so if it's not repaired when the era changes, you don't get the plus one faith. It's so
Nope.
bad. So
It is.
incredible. I've never picked it. And every single time like, when I used to actually, like, when I was learning the game a lot more, I used to look at it a lot. And I'll be honest, I cannot think of a situation where that's a good choice.
I agree. I agree. So, like, we went through these
Yep.
pretty. Oh yeah, I think what we're up to an hour or something.
We are at an hour seven, so we're slow for us. I mean, like,
No,
are quick
we're
for
good.
us. Normally, hour seven is we talked about half a civilization.
But like, religion overall is just useful
Yeah.
for any type of victory, right?
Well, yeah, because you can buy your
Science
great
and
people.
culture for sure. I'm not sure. I'm not so much. I mean, it still provides that
Well, because
bonus.
I'm pulling up your game screen here. All right, we're in the ancient era, so there's no modifiers or anything. Let's go into the great person screen. For 750 faith, we can buy your first tier great people, with the exception of the artist and musicians, and that's just because they're considered later era, and the engineer because he's considered a later era too. But
But
for
when you talk about faith, it's different than talking about religion in a
yeah,
way, right? Because you can generate shitload of faith without having religion.
exactly. But religion is good in all games. But like I think of faith and religion as one and the same because if
Hmm.
you're going faith, you're generating religion. If you're generating religion, you're generating faith. Um, but yeah, no, like you don't like they're different. But religion does help in every victory. There is the argument against a domination victory. Because you have the -3 loyalty for following a different religion, and you're never, unless you're playing Basil or Theodora, you're never going to be able to keep up to spreading your religion to the cities to not have that -3 loyalty modifier. But if 3 loyalty is killing you, you need to figure out why 3 loyalty is hampering you as much as it is.
Hmm.
You need to adjust your strategy. Um, I would make the argument I don't take religion and domination games because I want to go to war as soon as possible.
Yeah, yeah. No, that makes sense. Makes sense. All right. Well, I mean, this was pretty easy.
Yeah,
I don't know if
mostly
anybody in the
painless.
chat has any questions.
No, I mean, if anyone has any Civ questions at this point, or any questions about anything, like just fire away. But no, I mean, and that's the thing. Like the problem with religion, as a whole, is there's not a lot of options that make sense in any of the beliefs. Like I said, every single building is a loss, like except for two. So like why would you ever choose those? Your enhancement belief, why are you ever choosing it? Like there seems to be like two options that make sense, and then everything else, like
Yeah.
I've seen people make arguments, but I've never like understood it.
Yeah, I've seen your games multiple times where you just have two beliefs picked,
Yeah.
and that's it. you never,
If I don't
you
need the
never
era
enhance
score,
them.
I never take the worship building
Yeah, because then you have to spend
because you're
two
losing the cost of
apostles.
the apostle, and that's the
Right.
other thing you have to factor into the
That's
cost.
three apostles
Yeah,
to fully upgrade your religion.
two
That's kind of
apostles,
insane. Two or three?
two.
Oh, prophet and then two apostles. Yeah, yeah.
Yep, yep. But you have to factor in the cost of the apostle, and that makes the religious buildings even weaker, in my opinion,
Yeah.
because at
Yeah.
bare minimum they're costing you 400 faith just to get access. I honestly, if they were free, I would then debate them. Like if you just got it for free, or like you said, if it was by population, like if you got the +5 faith for every citizen that follows that religion in a city, oh, then yeah, then it's worth it. But you need 400 faith to get access to it, and then you need, I forget how much they cost to build. Let's say 800 faith to get your first one out the door. That's insane.
Yeah. I agree. I agree. Um, yeah, what can we talk about? I was gonna ask you.
Yeah, fire away, anything.
I was gonna ask you about science.
Yeah, fire away. What you got for
The
science?
structure of science game.
Yeah,
Now, let me see something here.
I have the science tree pulled up right now. I mean, I could also just do like a random leader and we could just start playing through a game.
Yeah, but it's like starting from the very beginning. What I was gonna ask you is like, can we go like step by step and just I want to understand like what are your goals? Because we've talked about goals for like ancient era and
Yeah,
whatever
yeah.
else, right? I want to understand your goals for in a science game.
Okay.
Like, are there any like I understand there are no wonders that are like super essential, you know?
No.
What I
Your
noticed
your
that
your wonders.
you usually shoot for like a ridiculous amount of trade routes, right?
Yep, always.
Because that's what your ultimate your ultimate our ultimate goal is to be able to build those space projects, right? As soon
Yep.
as possible and spaceport and whatnot. And so you go with a city with a boatload of trade routes that give you like over 200 production to be able to do that, right?
Yeah.
So essentially that requires quite a bit of expansion, building boatload of cities
Yeah.
or conquering them, right?
Correct.
Okay.
One second. I'm trying to get ahead of you here. I'm trying to get a save queued up. So just keep talking for a second.
Yeah, but I don't want to talk to myself.
Well, I can still talk, but I'm not looking at the screen right now.
Toki's saying science game is gold. Buy it all.
I would disagree.
I mean, by what all? Like, do you mean the science buildings, or because in a lot of my games I use faith to do that. Not by science buildings, but like districts, for example, that we need, or even including spaceports. Moksha always is a viable choice for that. But in science game, at some point, you expanded, you either go into further war or you play in a more peaceful game and you enjoy the trade benefits from the AI.
All
You
right.
still need to expand. Your science game would be slow if you only have like 10 cities, right?
Yep, it'd be incredibly slow. And gold is actually the worst way to buy districts because, like I said before, gold is tied to so many other fixed costs in game, where
But maybe
your
Toki means buying, library, university,
yeah, yeah.
research lab.
Oh, like your
Oh, it's
factories
at
and such. Yeah,
factories.
yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, no,
Yeah,
no, that makes perfect
for
sense.
sure, for
Yeah, yeah,
sure,
yeah.
for sure.
No, no. But like, and this
But
is
that's in any victory, right? Like you
yeah,
use your
always buy and
gold,
buy if why
always.
produce anything if you can buy it? Like that
Yeah.
makes like zero sense to ever not just buy stuff. All right, so this is the last science game I played. It's a game of the month that I haven't posted yet. So whatever. But turn 169, I've won. Let's look at how many trade routes I have. I have 31 trade routes, and let's go
How
ahead.
did you get to this? Well, it's all obviously conquest,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
right?
of course. I mean, none of my cities are happy.
Why is it not deity?
Because it's game of the month.
See, Fanatics, yeah.
Yeah. So I have 31 trade routes in my capital right now, which is a decent amount of trade routes. Where is my capital? My capital right here has 395 production.
Well,
Uh,
but okay, so you have Ruhr Valley there,
yep.
obviously, and Toki, yeah, obviously you need an industrial zone too, probably, but definitely one. Well, definitely two because you have to boost those
You don't need an
Eureka's.
industrial zone. Don't let the fact that I have an industrial zone in Ruhr Valley here
But it
confuse
helps
you.
production, right?
Yeah,
Like
but 31
instead of
trade routes is
one
doing the heavy
city,
lifting.
but like instead of having one city with high production, right? You can
Yeah.
have two by the time the lasers come, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Because you
but
don't need two high production cities to build space projects. You just need one.
I just need one because like right now I'm producing a laser every single turn. It's one turn to like I at city production, it's one turn I finish a laser.
Yeah, it's every other turn, right? Like because if your production is 300 and it costs 6, it's every other turn that you get
Well,
it built.
you can feed a builder every turn and then the overflow. Because I'm using Royal Society, and I'm
Right.
sending a builder from my Royal Society city over to finish that.
Wait.
Well,
Wait. Does Royal Society, why would you say, oh, just in this case, Royal Society has no impact on how many builder charges.
Royal Society allows you to use your builder charges
Right,
to expedite. So
right. So
because
it
I'm
doesn't matter
using
where the
one,
builder is coming from.
yeah. So
Yeah.
I just have I have Liang in a city, and I have the +2 extra builder charges card in as
Mm-hmm.
well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that's 3 extra charges. I don't think I got pyramids. I had pyramids for like 3 turns this game because it was like way
So here's the other thing, right? Pyramids would be pretty freaking useful in
yes.
any game, but science as well, right? Like
Google Bar
because
just said Soger sacrificing people for his goals is lore accurate. I'd say that, yeah. I mean, just throw people at the machine until, just keep throwing people at it until the problem is solved.
that sounds like a real life experience right there too.
Yeah, yeah. That is accurate. I would agree with that.
All right. Well, but I guess what else?
But yeah, but because I'm using Royal Society and I have 6 builder charges, because I'm using one every turn, it's not finishing it, but it's keeping it at 1 turn because you're getting the overflow every single time, the production overflow. So yeah,
Hmm.
there's a little bit of investment involved there, but it does work
Okay.
out to a laser every single turn.
Okay. All right.
All right, but anyways, so no, the structure for a science game is very easy, and I can even go by off this game. Uh, like what I did is I expanded. Like the first thing, you always want to get a golden age. If you don't get a golden age, it's going to be rough. But you want to get an ancient era golden age. Um, and classical era is you expand as much as you can, and you keep expanding until it's cost prohibitive to expand, or where you're expanding isn't as good as what you could conquer. If you start looking and you have better options to conquer versus expand, then I start switching into a war mentality because, like you said, I just want to get the cities. Like, I just want the cities for the trade routes, and I don't have to worry about tourism modifiers or anything like that. I just
But
need yields.
yeah, but let me ask you a question. In regards to government policies, like collective act, no, International Space Station, right?
Yep,
Is adds like a shitload of shit ton of science, right?
yep,
To your product. In order to get there, you need culture
yeah.
generation, right? So, do you play your science game as if like you play in a culture game, like
Yes,
by
if you'll
giving?
look, my religion is relics, uh, because I happened to find a few relics. Candy was
Hmm.
in game, so I went to relics religion, religious colonization, because I was very faith poor at the beginning, so I knew I was never going to be able to spread my religion. And then world church for culture, and I focused on culture as heavily as I could. Kumasi was in game, so that helped out once I could utilize them.
How much are you getting? How much science are you getting from International Space Station? I wonder. Like, if you look at your government policy.
840 science per turn.
So, let me. Can you help me understand this though? Like, how many city states are you using of? What, like, why is it 800? Like,
All of them.
the
One,
highest.
two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight. There's 11, I think.
Yeah. So you're saying that Envoy game is more important than ever in a science game
Yeah.
because.
No, because it's so like, and that's why when we were talking about religious beliefs, I said an envoy is more important than like tithe or any of those other things, and this is why. Because like you said, it's way more important in a science game to get
Mhm.
to globalization and get this card, because at the end of the science tree there's so much to
Oh,
unlock.
you know, you didn't even pick the future government either.
Nope, why would I?
Because you, what, you're in democracy here? Or
I'm
no,
actually
communism?
I did the best case scenario here. I went democracy first to get the democracy legacy card, so my international trade routes
Oh, I see.
still have the +4 food, +4 production, and then I switched into communism to get the communism card where my domestic routes have +2 production, +4 food, and this is why it's absolutely pointless to change governments because I got 31 trade routes and all of them are providing me let's see. My
Uh,
what?
is democracy legacy card? Is it all like city states that you trading with?
That is
Because
city
the other,
states 100%, yes.
I see.
So my lowest production trade route is 6 production. Is 6 production. So that means with 30 31 I'm what 200 is about right because most of them are no, actually probably 190 is right. Production just from my trade routes in a capital that has Uh, okay, so I guess overall I'm making 200 production not from trade routes. So it's about the same. But that's
Huh.
where I'm saying Ruhr Valley is of debatable use. Yeah, if you build it in your non-capital, I would say then it's of use. But industrial zones don't matter. Just get a bunch of trade routes.
Yeah, yeah. If you can get to 30 freaking trade routes, 30 trade routes, that's not easy to get. I mean, in my Grand Columbia game where I conquered the continent and
Yeah.
both sort of cities, I only had like 22 trade routes. You know what I mean? I had plenty of, commercial and harbor districts. It just never grew to that ridiculous amount. And I
Well,
like how all of them, like, are you running into the amenities problem in your production city too, in your capital?
I have amenity problems in every. I have 44
So,
cities, and I've been
so
at
you have
war for.
400 production
Yeah.
with Unhappy city?
Yeah. Yes.
Damn.
I have
Are you serious?
I have been like I have been at war in this game since turn 20.
I had the same problem, right? Like you go to war and you can't stop because you keep pillaging and doing
Yeah.
this and that and the other thing. But I started worrying about my amenities at some point because production dropped.
Yep.
But it doesn't phase you because what?
Well,
And what kind of city projects do you run? Do you
I'm
start
just
running
running
campus
campus
projects?
projects. Every single
But
city is running a campus
at
project.
what point do you build out and fully upgrade the campus and then you
Up to
just switch to
university.
you don't build research labs?
Nope.
What?
Why would I?
Bullshit. You don't have I see a research lab right there.
I have one in my capital only because I had Ruhr Valley, an industrial zone. This game is an outlier. The reason why I never build a research center is because they cost power. And if you have power and you run out of aluminum, you
Uh-huh.
can't build your first, or you can't build the power laser without putting down improvements or getting a power
Yeah,
plant or something like
Lagrange.
that. Yep, because there is
But
the
see,
car.
that's yeah, and that's why building a couple of encampments actually pays off because you can stock it, right?
Yep, and the
Stock.
and plus the campus also provides plus 15% towards space projects if it has the
Yeah,
encampment
yeah,
building. So I
right,
always
right, right,
build.
right.
I would build an encampment before industrial zone in
But
your.
let me look at your government policies again for a second.
Yeah, yeah, sure, fire away. And I do have
Yeah,
amenity cards in,
trade
which is the important
routes,
thing.
public works. Yeah, I have the exact same selection actually. And at what point do you just drop culture? Once you get to globalization, you're like, I
Yeah,
don't need culture anymore.
once I stopped worrying about culture in a non-culture game right around
Can't buy
Cold War.
aluminum. Tokyo, you can't buy aluminum if you're at war.
Did he just say
That's
buy aluminum? That's funny. He
I
thinks the AI is even near aluminum. Let's see, where's the AI in this game?
yeah. You see it
They're
there
in
once.
the Renaissance era.
It's one. No, but in normal games, right? Normally,
Yeah,
we
in
have the
normal
word
games you can
normally.
buy aluminum.
So, right, you can buy aluminum, but it's just I don't know. It's easier. I actually always double have power as backup. Make sure that
Yep.
my city has
And that's
plenty of
why
power.
research labs are actually a negative. By the time,
Hmm.
like, research labs come on, like, when do they become active? They are in chemistry here. Now, if you rush chemistry, if you go straight to chemistry, I could see you making the argument for building a research lab. But rocketry is one level away from chemistry. And once you reach rocketry, what, like, yeah, you have to unlock the rest of the tree, but what are your cities actually doing? They should just be running campus projects. So why are you
Okay.
investing the gold or faith with Jesuit education into a research lab when you can just run the campus project and use that golden faith for units for war, for builders to chop stuff out, for great people? It just comes too late, in my opinion. The way it's created.
Can you talk through the technology tree? Like, what do you have a specific path? Because you have to unlock basically everything, right? Like,
Yes,
you want to get to spaceport, but you don't have to get there as soon as possible because there is still a gap between different technologies
correct.
that provide space projects, right? So,
Exactly.
what is your logic
My
when you reach?
Here's my thought. Like, what I did in this game a bunch of times is I set the science tree to the where off-world mission is right here to see which technologies were required, because the science tree is randomized at the last third of it is randomized, the
Right,
pathing.
right,
So sometimes you don't need up to like 4 technologies,
right.
and that's important to know which technologies you actually need.
But how
But
would you set to off-world if it's hidden? You don't know.
no,
Like,
I just picked the second to last box.
oh, okay,
Yeah,
gotcha.
because that's
So
because
so that's what you do, and you don't. That's what you set at, and
oh
you
no,
just
that's
go.
just looking to see what I can skip because sometimes that will affect it. If like let's
Uh,
say like the whole bottom of the tree after the industrial era, the whole bottom of the tree is unnecessary. Well then, that will change it. But now let's
well, I feel like it's always the full tree because exoplanet expedition will require everything. Um,
not
as far as
always.
I know.
I actually have a couple of games where there was like 6 or 7 texts that you didn't need to research.
Okay.
Yeah.
But that's your logic. You
Yeah.
just want to see, and then what?
Well,
You
that's
just
like
try
that's
to
like
figure
end
out.
game logic. At the beginning, I'm much more I want to grow my cities and get the wonders that are going to grow my cities. So I very rarely get to universities before turn 100. Uh, because printing and Kilwa, printing, getting Forbidden City and Kilwa are going to do a lot more to grow your empire and give you yields a lot more than getting a university or even a research lab for that fact. So I tend to go the bottom of the tree early.
Hmm. Good,
Um,
Toki. You're saying research labs aren't that great because also once you've applied them, unless you're getting tech in one turn, it's always be still. I don't
yeah, I get
follow.
what he's saying. That
I don't.
he's basically saying exactly what I'm saying. Is they come too late to really sort of matter because at
But
this
you
point,
still, but see, I kind of disagree because there's a whole like it's a quarter of a tree that you still have to research. A whole
yes,
of the atomic and there's a lot to research actually. I in my games
okay.
found that research labs boosted my science
What
output by
turn do you
quite a
win
bit
by?
to 40
Okay, there we go.
to
Um,
30.
if,
Yeah.
if,
230 was my best win scientifically.
yeah,
So
and I'm not saying this to be mean, but what I'm
I
saying
mean, you're
is,
playing with all kind of modes here, and on Immortal, so 170 is not a typical game.
I can pull up deity games where I won just as fast. This is just my most recent science game.
I mean, I believe you, sort of, but I mean, I feel like what is your average science win then?
My average no mode science game is like about 200 to 190 if I'm going fast. 210 on the low is things went wrong.
Okay,
Um,
yeah, so it makes a difference. It makes a
but
huge difference because
why I would say that research labs don't matter, and this is what I was saying. It's just you're taking longer. Is because if you focus on getting culture, it's faster to get to globalization, and get
mm,
the +5 for each city state you're Caesarian of,
hmm,
versus getting a bunch of campuses down and all that.
yeah.
So
So once you let me ask you this though,
yeah,
if for example in a game you miss out on Apadana
yep,
and you miss out on Kilwa,
yep.
would you still try to go for International Space Station in globalization?
Well,
Like
yeah, because I'm gonna go conquer the Kilwa city.
so that would be the goal. You
Yeah,
would
I'm getting
go for
Kilwa.
it.
Yeah, I'm
No,
getting Kilwa. Now, I get what you're
it's that
saying.
important.
I get what you're
Okay.
saying. If I don't have the envoys, is the question,
Yeah.
right? It's not as important then. Like that's the better version of the like, and because I get what you were going at. If let's say I'm not able to muscle the AI out of city states, would I still go to globalization? Yes, because I'm going to militarily muscle them out then. Um, because
Yeah, because otherwise, like in this case, you get an 800. You get half of your science
oh
from
yeah,
citizens. That's insane.
what I would say now, let's say in a hypothetical situation, I'm playing a pacifist game and envoys are an issue. Then do I do it? No. Then if I am locked into a pacifist game style and I didn't get Apadana, and then all of a sudden Kilwa goes super early, I'm going to drop the culture much earlier because globalization isn't going to pay off. I'm not going to be able to get all the envoys, like it just not. But that is such a locked in. Uh, that's like a lot of modifiers to reach that. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, because the reality is, if you look at these two end game ones, social media has online communities and collective activism, which gives plus 5% culture, and globalization has plus 5 science for each city state that you're Caesarian of. Those are so huge in winning the game. Those are just so absolutely huge in winning the game that I will go to war. I will do everything in my power to make sure I get these as soon as possible. They are the two strongest things in the game. Because like you said, I'm getting double my science, or I'm getting half my science just from one card.
Hmm.
So, and that's sort of and this is just to show you how strong culture is. Like where I say,
So with culture tree, then
yeah,
that's what you're aiming for.
yep, is these two
Globalization.
cards. Globalization, social media. We're just talking science game. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So for culture, you would target social
Yeah, yeah.
media, but for
Uh,
science, you would target globalization.
exactly. And space race, which is one tier below globalization, has the 15% to science productions. If it has
Right.
military academy, that's huge. So
Hmm.
this is like just to show, like where I said culture wins games. Like this, like 15% towards your production and 800 science in this game. So even though it's a science game, my cultural investment early paid off a lot more than getting a bunch of campuses early.
When did you unlock globalization? I wonder. Like
Uh,
what turn was it?
it was I landed like hold up, let me see. It was bu- 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 let's see, where did I land on the
Toki, the war is so beneficial in a science
what did he
game
say?
because, um, well, he said that he's got to work on the war game,
Oh yeah.
um, because you can pillage even if you don't conquer, which you should. But pillaging is just you pillage everything before you take a city because you get so much in one turn. It's insane. And if you have like, cavalry units and whatever else that move around, I mean, it's a tactic that should always be there available in a science game for sure.
Yeah. In a science game, it's great. And it pains me to say this, but I'm even leaning into a much more aggressive culture game. I started it in my Spain game a while ago, and I still sort of played a more pacifist culture game. And that last stream with Eleanor that me and you did, you can just see how like if I would have been in a better position to pillage and not conquer anything because pillaging doesn't generate grievances, but just running around creating havoc and then getting friendship, like war is just so beneficial in this game. It's so
Yeah,
great.
it's learning about how to pillage too,
Yep.
because it takes what, like three freaking movement points
Yep.
to do a pillage. Then you want to retreat because you don't want to be standing there under the walls with your unit, unprotected unless it has. So because cavalry units do not get range protection,
Yeah.
do they?
No,
That
they don't.
promotion, they
Um,
don't.
but
So,
to
like, what
answer,
is your tactic when it comes to like pillaging, like with units?
one second. To answer your question, I got globalization. Where I just saw it.
Oh,
Uh,
it's right there.
yeah, globalization
Holy shit,
is
143.
yeah 143. So pretty late.
Oh my god.
What? That's late.
Well, this is a game with modes, right? Like, but it's only 20
No,
turns earlier where
this has Monopoly
everything.
mode. Yeah, sorry, this does
It,
have Monopoly mode.
and it's different difficulty. But what I'm saying is, you would still unlock globalization by turn, let's say 160.
I would actually unlock it earlier because what I don't have in this is I went reeds and marshes, so I don't have a culture pantheon. Um, I also, I also didn't. uh, push religion anywhere near as hard as I normally would, because there was so much early science to get in this game that I actually went
Dude,
campuses really early.
I just don't know. I don't understand how you're able to go through culture tree so fast. This is like a riddle for me. I understand the overall strategy that you're doing. It's
Yeah,
just, and it's consistent golden ages, I guess.
yeah.
My
But
biggest
anyways,
struggle is consistent golden
yeah.
age
But
too.
anyways, back to pillaging because that was the question you
Yeah,
had.
yeah, yeah. Okay.
What? Okay, so cavalry is obviously the best pillage unit, light cavalry, because it has enough movement to move and pillage. Heavy
Yeah.
cavalry has 4, so if it's on flatland, and it
Hmm.
has more survivability. So that is why I tend to default to light and heavy cavalry as my units of choice. But now, if you just uh, if your only goal is to pillage, this game, what I did a lot is I levied city-states and I just sent troops on
Right.
pillage death runs. I would
Yeah.
look, I
Yeah.
like when
Suicide them.
I
Yep.
just
I've
looked
done
at
that.
Dido and I was like, okay, she has
Hmm.
a campus here, she has a
Hmm.
campus here,
Hmm.
and I just kept moving the units, and I did not care if they lived or died. I just wanted to get the yields because I wasn't even on this continent yet. I was still like over here, but because I was Caesarian of this city state, I would just levy units and then just send them through to pillage, and then like
Yeah.
I don't care
Yeah.
if they die. Um,
Um,
but
you
it's
know,
but what's important is you can't just send units blindly. You sort of have to have a path. You want to, before you start moving in, going, okay, there's a campus here, so I'm going to send the unit this way. Okay, I need to the faith over here. A lot of times people just sort of go in.
in my last game, I brought a couple of builders with me, and I would like go after them and ignore my units who were just running around pillaging and
Yep,
whatever else they needed to do. So it's like, I mean, it's taking advantage of the I guess, but
but
it's one of
everything
those
is.
things. Yeah.
Like everything in game is taking
Um,
advantage of
let
the
me
AI.
ask you another question.
Yeah.
Where is the policy that gives you like 2 envoys? Because that's the one that I've only like realized the value of it
Cold
like
War are
once we started talking.
which one
Like,
Cold War are in political philosophy? Because
no, no,
Cold War gives
Cold
you
War, I think.
Cold War
Every
is the
time,
card that uh, containment. Each envoy you send to a city state counts
yeah.
as 2 if the
So let me
Caesarian has
ask,
a different
yeah.
government than you.
So
That
let
is
me
a
ask you a
huge card.
question. So
Yep.
let me ask you a question about this one. Do you stack envoys until you get the Cold War card
If I'm
at
behind
some
on
point?
envoys, yes.
But do you do it often, like in general, if you thought about it to yourself? Like, do I,
No.
no?
If I in my average game, if I'm like ahead, say I got a good Apadana game and I've been
Hmm.
going really strong culture, so I'm getting my envoys in the culture tree long before the AI, I
Hmm.
wouldn't save for Cold War. But now in a scenario where I didn't get Apadana, or say there's like a Russia or a Chimeran game where the AI ha has like a decent amount of envoys, or just like the AI have been split on which city state they're sending their envoys to, because you can't beat every AI at every city state. A lot of times you can just get ahead because they all.
Says the man who is a suzerain of every single city state.
But if you look, well, the game's already run. But if you look, I have like a bunch in Zanzibar because they kept taking Zanzibar from me. Every AI was focusing on one city state, so the other ones I just kept by default, if that makes
Gotcha.
sense. But now
Yeah.
let's say one AI picked Zanzibar, one AI picked Geneva, one AI picked Nazca. You can't beat every AI.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah,
So
that's why
now,
it's difficult, right? Like, it
yeah,
sucks in the games where they just start taking city states out, right?
exactly.
Like you become a suzerain, and all of a sudden, I mean, that's when you have to go to.
So now in a game like that, where like the AI hasn't picked a definite city-state winner, I would start saving as soon as I recognize that envoys are a problem. I start saving. I've started saving uh, envoys as early as like let's see, Cold War is in the atomic era. I have been like unlocking where is it? Naval tradition and mercenaries, and going, well, I'm saving that for when I get Cold War, because I recognize so early that the AI is just all over the place on which city states they're sending their envoy to, and there's no clear, like, they're competing over one. Because if you can get like 10, 11 envoys when you unlock Cold War, you can get every single city state right there.
Hmm.
So that's one of those things. You have to read the flow of the game and realize that the AI isn't clever. If they're fighting you for Zanzibar, they're probably always going to fight you for Zanzibar. They're not going to like deke you out and then take Geneva.
Gotcha. All right. Well, listen, I am at my time.
All right.
This is actually, once you get the video file, let me know.
Yeah, of course.
Because there's like this whole science discussion is pretty cool,
Yeah.
We could make a couple of those to
Shorts.
share. Shorts, or maybe,
Well, I know
maybe
what you
build
mean.
like a cohesive video. I don't know. But there's a lot of information because, like, I wanted to play a game and like incorporate all of this knowledge and try to achieve every single thing that we've talked about,
Yeah.
including wars, and pillaging and envoy game and whatnot.
Well, and
So
and that's the thing is, when you're declaring these, like when you're declaring a war, you have to remember the point of the war is to get something. It doesn't have to be to win the war. You don't have to be getting a lot of cities. You don't have to, like early wars, like pillages can give you more than conquering their cities. And I think I don't
yeah,
know.
pillages are huge, right? Like,
Yeah,
I mean, you pillage, you fund something immediately. If you
exactly.
pillage like a gold source, same thing with like, and the culture games, I guess you can pillage for faith and
Yep.
just produce a boatload of naturalists or rock bands, whatever.
And one of the biggest moves I've made lately that I just sort of laughed to myself when I realized how effective it is, and I mentioned it already, is the city-state levy just for pillaging. Because
Hmm.
I used to think, oh God, it's like 600 gold. But if
Right.
you think about it, you're paying 600 gold in like the Renaissance era to get an army to just run around and pillage,
Yeah, you
and
you basically you
you're
can
getting
buy
so much more
science,
back. You're
right? You
getting
can buy science,
yeah.
faith, or culture
Yeah,
from
early
from.
game, you're paying like 200 gold or 240 for a deity city state. And if you get like three pillages, you've already came out ahead. And once I made that, I was like literally playing and I was laughing to myself so hard about how ridiculous it was. I used to think, "Oh, that's a bad investment." It like this candy right here, when I found candy, all I was thinking is, "Oh my God, if I can get that city state, there's a campus. There's all these like stables and everything. That's going to pay for itself immediately. Like by turn two, I had already paid for, like I'd paid in other better yields the
Yeah,
gold investment.
yeah, yeah. No, for sure, for
So
sure.
that is that is a very huge, that is a very huge deity speed run move there. Is like if when you find these city states on the next continent, just like get Caesarity right away and just get out there and pillage. Like get out there and learn the map. Get that extra exploration. Like the gold investment seems a lot, but you get so much for it.
Yeah, and if you're lucky early on, you can even get, you levy the city states armies and get AI cities before they even get the walls up
Exactly.
sometimes. And you can open a second or third front and
And
distract the units. And there's so much
and,
benefit
and
from.
here's what I'm gonna say: if you're going Warlord's Throne, let's say like let's
Did
say
you go World of Throne in this one?
oh, of course, anything, any
Instead of
game.
Ancestral Hall.
Yeah, any game where I'm going to go to war, Warlord's Throne is going to pay off because it's plus 20% production. And that's
Mhm.
universal, all your cities. That's huge.
But that's for a number of turns, or is it like permanent?
5
Like,
turns after conquering a city.
Oh, okay. So are you conquering cities slowly? Is that what you're
I
saying?
am conquering all the cities. So,
Yeah, but do
but
you like
but
wait 5 turns,
actually
conquer a
yeah.
city?
No, I don't plan it out like that. But this is where I was saying, like, say I take Muscat here and I levy their units and I take one of these cities before I have a standing on this continent. If I capture that city and lose it to loyalty, I've still activated Warlord's Throne. Like, yeah, I lost the city,
Oh,
and I guess I should feel bad about that, but I
yeah.
activated Warlord's Throne.
Yeah, okay.
So
Huh.
like, and this is
That's good
where
to know.
like that city state levy, I am beginning like I have like started leaning on city state levy more and more in my gameplay and started utilizing it more and more. And it is so strong because catapults can pillage just the same as any other unit. So even if it's a bad mix of units, guess what? They still pillage. They all
Mhm,
pillage.
mhm, mhm. Yeah, that's like a topic in itself, how to war properly,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
when to do it.
Because
Because
I've always argued I'm a bad domination player. I really am. No, I am. Like if you look at my
bullshit.
utilization of units and
Yeah.
how I go about doing
Oh, yeah.
war, I
Oh,
am
yeah.
not good at it.
Okay, well, you know,
I'm
the
fast at
end.
it.
It's not the battle; it's the war, right?
Yeah.
And looking at the map, I think you're doing pretty well.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm not
but I
utilizing
get, I
bonuses.
get what you're saying. Yeah, 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 yeah. They're like, when the units are adjacent, they're different like abilities and
Yeah.
whatnot. I
I am
don't do that either.
utilizing none of that.
I don't even put cities on the siege a lot of times. I
Yeah.
just
So I'm
It depends. It
debatably a
depends. Yeah.
bad domination player, but I'm good at getting the most out of that war. I
Yeah.
like I get everything out of that war. Like I lose a lot of units and I just send them to their death, but that's a cost I'm willing to pay. I don't care about the units. I care about getting the yields.
Yeah. Well, like someone said right earlier, sacrificing people for your
Yeah,
goals.
uh,
You get it.
like uh, yeah, I have no problem, and it's a
I know you have no problem. You've mentioned it many times.
well, but here's the thing: like if I bought the
Do you have
units,
any empathy for the people? No, I don't think so.
well, these are fake people.
No.
Like these aren't real
Of
people in this game.
course, of course.
Now if I
Maybe
buy,
maybe Civ 7 will have like some kind of AI, that can cry about how you're
I don't
treating them.
care about your tears. Like I'll tell you what, like record me some audio files of you begging for your life and crying, and I'll put them into my Civ 6 game. And every time I send a troop into like a territory, it'll just be you begging for mercy. I'll still do it.
Yeah, I mean, I would do the same. I would do the
Yeah,
same.
like
But
like
I wish there was a mechanic that would somehow,
war weariness.
somehow,
It's in game.
yeah, but it's not good enough.
No, it's not. It's
It's not good
the
enough
negative for war weariness does not
because
offset
what
the bonus for just constantly being at war in a science game.
exactly, exactly. It's like either like it used to be that your cities, like in previous versions, that your cities flipped
Oh yeah,
faster. I feel like all of a sudden, like quarter of your empire is like I don't know what it used to be like in anarchy or something like that.
yeah.
It
If
doesn't
there was
happen.
like if there was like anti-war protest and stuff like that, where
Right, right, right.
like you
That's what
lost
war weariness is
population.
supposed to be like, right? Or rebels, right?
Yeah,
All of a sudden would spawn.
like
But
if I
here,
started losing population every turn, and our district started getting out of commission because people were rioting or stuff like that, like like I don't want to
but
get
you have enough
political.
amenities here, right? You have enough amenities to handle.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like I feel that every negative is so minimal to the positives of just abusing the best case scenario.
Hmm.
Like, yeah, it's terrible that like what am I getting? I'm getting minus 10% on yields. Yeah, I'm getting minus 10%. But if I do a science pillage right now, it's like 300 science. So 10% of 1500 is actually 150. So I guess losing 10% doesn't matter.
How many bombers have you built?
Zero. What? Are you
How do
drunk?
how do you
What's wrong
take
with you?
how do you take cities that have like
Quickly.
90 strength? But like with what?
Okay. All right.
Artillery? You have a bombard over there. Like
Okay.
how do you take these cities down?
Okay. See this tank right here?
You know? That's all you do. You just sit
Yeah.
there
Yeah.
and
Yeah. I'm a bad domination player, but look at that. That city just got taken. Oh,
yeah, but
this
that's
helicopter.
72. Yeah, but that's 72 strength. Oh,
Yeah.
wait, the AI is so behind. They
Yeah.
also
Yeah.
have.
This is why I
I was
say.
looking at the cities up there, but they're all yours.
Yeah, that's why I always say that
That's ridiculous.
having a technological advantage beats
Yeah.
absolutely everything else as far as strategy. I don't need
Well,
to be
yeah.
a good domination player because I'm good at getting yield, so I can get to tanks while they're defending with pike and shot.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't need to play good. I just need to play fast.
Yeah. All
Russia
right,
did
dude.
that. Google
I
bars.
see the comment.
Russia
That's
did that in World War II. You sent 2 million to die, but then you only have 1 million bullets. Guess what? Still a win. Yeah, I'm sorry, but like World War II, like it would have played out differently. Like if Russia didn't like do it like that, like we probably still would have won, but they did a decent job at keeping them contained.
not every culture can handle that, but
Yeah,
yeah, I mean they
I mean you
threw
need a lot of people. Like,
you
but
need people.
and this is the thing. Like, if you lost. Like, say you lost population every time you bought a military unit. The problem is there is no limit to the number of military units you can create. If I lose a tank, I can buy another tank. If, like there, and not only that, because every unit requires per turn resources. Like you've got back the resources of that tank the second it's gone. So like there should almost be an upfront, like you need 20 oil to make a tank and then it costs one. Because right
Hmm.
now you lose a tank, you build a tank, it's the same oil cost.
Hmm. Hmm.
Like there is absolutely zero reason to not just run units to their death once you
It's
have
just
an
if you
advantage.
had that rule, the AI would be even worse.
Oh yeah. And that's the
Well,
problem.
you know what? Maybe that's one of the way to give more cheats to the AI. Make it that a rule for a human player, but AI can still have their own whatever.
I think we should play a game with special rules, like where you have to like you can only lose so many units, and if you lose that many
Yeah,
units a
yeah.
loss. We
It
need
can
to
only
like
build so many units
yeah,
too.
we need to come up with a rule list to come up with games that are like unique challenge games.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, that's what the guy's doing on YouTube too. But that type of rule is actually pretty cool. You know, if you're playing domination game, you can only build so many units.
Well, I
That's a
would say if you're
challenge.
playing a domination game, you can only lose so many units because that would be then it would get really you could be doing
You have to
really
be more
good and then get
tactical.
nervous.
Yeah, 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 yeah. All right, brother.
All right.
Well, I think I'm at my limit
All right.
now. It's been real.
Yeah, that's
It's
great.
been
It's always nice
it's
talking to
fun.
you.
It's always fun, man. It's always fun. I
All
really
right, but
appreciate
anyways,
it.
that's gonna be the end of the stream.